Everybody, I wanted just to take a moment and talk to you about the ACT reading test. So what we are going to do today is we are going to go through just a few things that you need to know about the ACT reading test, which will hopefully be helpful for you as you take this test. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is the hardest part of this test is actually the time. So this test consists of 4 reading passages and 30 and 40 questions, and you need to complete all of them in 35 minutes. This is one of the most difficult things about the ACT test, because a lot of people who do poorly on the ACT reading test is because they did not have a chance to finish it. So what we are talking about in this course is we are going to be talking about strategies that will help you get through the reading ACT test in a quick and timely manner so that you are able to finish it. Because the important thing is that you are finishing all 40 questions in the time allotted. If you do not finish all the questions, you will want to go through and at least bubble the questions in, because again, answering the questions, even if you just guessed, is still better than just leaving it blank. If you leave the answer choice blank, you are guaranteed that you will not get the points. However, if you are able to at least make a guess on the correct answer, then odds are you will at least have a chance of having the correct answer. So anyway, again, 40 minutes, 35 questions, it's a lot. Basically, that works out to be 8 minutes and 45 seconds per passage, which gives you less than 1 minute per question. Again, the time is the hardest thing about the ACT reading test. The question types are not that bad. You are going to be asked detailed questions, big picture questions, development and function questions, and inference questions. The hardest question type that you will be asked is the development and function questions. These are questions that will ask you specifically about how a passage is being set up and what you need to do in order to answer, and what you need to do in order to analyze how a text is actually set up. But detailed, big picture, and inference questions are question types that you have known how to do since elementary school. It's not that bad. So if you had all the time in the world, odds are everybody in this class would do really, really well on this test, because it's really actually not that bad. The hardest thing, again, is just the time. So detailed questions, let's talk about them very quickly. Detailed questions could account up to 45% of the test, which means just shy of roughly half the test is going to be a detailed question. Detailed questions are explicit, which means that the answer is somewhere in the text. It's just a matter of finding the correct answer. You are going to be looking for stems such as according to the passage or according to the author. Big picture questions are another question type that is very common on the ACT test. These are questions about the theme or main idea. You could also be asked about the point of view of the characters or the point of view of the author. You could also be asked about tone. So these are questions, again, that ask you about all those wonderful things that you have been learning in English for the last several years. You could also be asked to compare and contrast attitudes between different characters or attitudes that are present in from one text to the other. So just be aware of that. But those are your big picture questions. As I said, development and function questions are the hardest questions on the test, and the reason why is that they are worded really weird. We are going to be looking at this a little bit more specifically a little later in this course, but just be aware that these development and function questions are not straightforward at all. It will sound like you're being asked, what does the author, or why did the author do this? Like, why did the author include paragraph 4 in the passage? And that's not really what you're being asked. You're actually being asked, what does paragraph 4 do for the rest of the passage? Is it evidence? Does it support the claim? Is it an anecdote? What is paragraph 4? That's what you're actually being asked to analyze. Finally, you have inference questions. Inference questions ask you to make logical guesses based upon what is in the passage. Basically, you are going to be reading between the lines. And along with that, vocabulary and context questions are another type of inference question, because you are going to be looking at the context clues in order to figure out which of the 4 answer choices is the correct definition for the word. Now, it is entirely possible that you could be presented with more than one correct definition for the word. A lot of words have multiple meanings, and ACT oftentimes will put more than one actually correct meaning for the word as a possible answer choice. So your job is to figure out which of those answer choices or which of those definitions is correct in the context that the word is being used. Okay, finally, let's talk about the different passage types on the ACT reading test. You have literary prose and fiction, which will be the first passage type that you will see. That's essentially like a short story or something of that nature. Social science, humanities, and natural science are the other three. And we will be looking at these a little bit more in depth over the next couple of days. Finally, let's talk about what the purpose of the session is. In the session, we are going to go over passage types. We are going to go over speed reading. We will go over the different question types. We are going to go over strategies for the online test, since you will be taking the test online this spring. And we will be taking several practice ACT reading tests. And the reason we do this is because it has been proven through studies that the more opportunities you have to practice the ACT test, the more likely it is that you are to do well. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. If you do have any questions, just let me know, and I hope to see you all soon.